Hey, it's Intuitive Jacob back after a long while. I'm going to get back to you on some more details about what's been going on at 0 point, and tonight we're actually just going to focus on the energy of the super full moon at 0 degrees Libra, the third at 0 this year. And today is actually International Astrology Day, although I'm not an astrologer. I will talk to you about some of these things and say happy solar year, because we just moved into Aries today, which means that maybe fire is safe in the air. It's Ostara and the spring equinox, so I'm so excited that I'm back here, and hopefully YouTube's going to be nice to me. I'd been having difficulty uploading while I was doing informant work about cryptocurrency. We'll get back to that. So today what I'd like to do is a reading for the elements. So I like to do an elemental reading where we're going to break down some oracles and get some messages that are for fire, earth, water, and air. And so we're going to go in that order. And I have actually already shuffled these cards rather profusely, but we're going to do some of that here too. And just make sure a little something came up to me too while I've been interpreting the energies around this full moon. 0 degrees really means something to a guy who came back from the dead like me. For me, it's kind of like taking a witness to the thing that didn't quite happen. It didn't quite get staked to anything. And I might have a little bit of a different perspective on that as somebody who literally came back from the dead. And whose birth chart also is at 0 degrees rising. And so I'm having fun with this, and I think it speaks a great deal to the time that never came and how much better we can do with things like astrology if we stop and pay attention to the fact that these coordinates that we have literally can be matched against IP addresses, SIM cards, hashes and stake, proof of stake with cryptocurrency, and everything that you have actually, and I have actually, we have actually bio-authenticated with our fingerprints, our faces, just by utilizing things like plasma screens that have plasma just like the plasma in your blood, and that's shared in the primordial web, if you will. And perhaps what the real awakening is about, and the time that we have quantified in order to explain the phenomenon of how BitTorrents landed in form and were not coined for the gems in our eyes, to be cracked open and only read from the half perspective of ripping open a head like the sun and the moon and chasing the eyes through parasite vision rather than quantizing the frequency and being one. So that's how I read it. And I'm actually going to read you a little bit about what this moon is, because I'm a moon reader, and as somebody who has felt his 5D love with him always in his body, I pay attention to her for energy and mood, and I find that moon cycles behoove us to pay attention to, because this is a birth and a womb. And being that, if we're going to talk like an astrologer now, Libra is about our relationships and how we balance. We're being called into a frequency of balance where we can see equally the perspective from both eyes versus just parasite view, which is what it looks like to me. It's weird as a guy that has my skill set. Sometimes when I see the patterns of people's energetic halo, I call them crystalline halos. And sometimes it just looks like they're like ramming their head like that, like to see something, and it's disturbing. So what I've made an awareness of for myself is how to just help people stop doing that. So didn't happen yet. This has been the land before time. I'm calling apocalypso, and I'm saying, hey, what can we do with these bodies that will allow us to call in the energetic light that can be part and parcel coordinated like GPS coordinates into the body? And that's where we are now. I'm going to be talking about more of that a little bit when I start doing some more readings here for you guys. But we're going to go ahead and just delve into this right now. We're going to start. Oh, and I will just say also, being that it's Libra, I got off the sidetrack there a little bit. Relationships. This is all relationship focused. And I keep hearing for some people, although the relationship might have a lot to do with something going on in your life right now, whether it's, career or romance or platonic family, for a lot of us, it's actually our relationship with truth and with ourselves and what we're willing to continue doing going forward or negotiating our way out of, and the tensions that might be coming up around that, because people are really being pulled. And anytime we have the moon come reflect to us like this, it rises the tides of water all over the birthplace we know as Earth, and your body is 80+% water, so do the math. It's going to bring up the emotions and different things, so keep that in mind. And we will start with the element of fire. So archetype, oh, this is great, one of my faves. The healer card has shown up. So beautiful healing energy. I'm hearing for some people, this is really, I'm hearing about somebody's thyroid. Thyroid could be a concern for some of you. Some of this could have to deal with desire to speak truth. And sometimes it's difficult truth. And so, in this picture, we're actually seeing somebody applying healing and somebody receiving healing. And sometimes this is about taking the healing that needs to be spoken into the higher heart, which is the thymus region. And I will also just say, too, as somebody that does work with strategic nutrition, you might if you're looking into thyroid support, something that has iodine, sea kelp is really good, something natural that's going to support this. But I'm going to go ahead and read this. And again, this is for the fire signs. What did I say? Earth. But anyway, yes, fire signs here. What it's saying is light attributes, passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help and transform pain into healing. Shadow attributes state taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for oneself. And this here is actually probably very important to note. I'm hearing a lot. This has been coming up for me with many people about taking advantage of those that need help. This was coming up a lot for fire tribes for me. I think mostly because of a need to express and in some cases overcompensate. I've seen this one coming up a little bit. I'm hearing about somebody that literally was being gaslit by another person, but in some cases it wasn't like an intentional situation. I don't know if you've ever had this happen, where somebody might have been insinuating that you said or did something that you didn't, and how painful that is to even have to have that dialogue or discourse with somebody. But I'm hearing about a situation where it could be that somebody's trying to reconcile with another person because of some boundaries that they had breached with their own mental and emotional chemistry, and how distorting it can be sometimes, especially when we have things like Mercury retrograde, where people might be not necessarily hearing or speaking as clearly as they normally do, and having to then go back and kind of like eat crow and just be like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to not hear you, and I might have gaslit you. And I'm hearing about some just a cautionary note for some people that if you do find yourself apologizing for that, realizing where there may have been a breach, or if you receive an apology like that, being aware of how you receive that information with another person, and whether or not somebody's going to try to extract because they feel like now you owe them. And so I was hearing about that a little bit. That's a very specific message that might not be relevant to everybody, but it did come up nonetheless. And so since I do work with spirit, I do let those speak up. But I'm hearing that overall, in situations where perhaps the words haven't been there, that sometimes taking the healing into the higher heart area or going for energetic healing might be something that would be helpful at this time. Who or what might be involved? Well, we've got the spiritual strength card. It's a 9 with the John Holland Psychic Tarot deck. I love this card. It's kind of like the very end of the tarot decks, wands energy or batons energy. This is a fire energy, although it doesn't look like it here. It's, this sort of third eye chakra color, brow chakra color, and it's a monk literally going within and holding up a structure. What I like about this here is that it's actually showing the very end of the cycle for our fire tribes. They're talking about some of those things that we have literally had to take and internalize just to hold ourselves together and to get through something. And so for some of you, I'm just hearing about like some structural pain here. I'm getting a pain here on my shoulder from somebody. I'm hearing now, this might be a great time to go get some Reiki, or perhaps some chiropractic, or just some hands-on touch from somebody that you can be around. But I'm hearing that it's almost over. If you're seeing the 9 and cringing, I know some people do, and they see this 9, they're like, oh my gosh, there's something else coming in the cycle, because a lot of times there's a 10th step to have to achieve. With this deck, this is actually the end of the cycle, which is the greatest news. The 9 here is actually the completion point too. So it's really speaking to the healing that we have achieve for ourselves by learning to go within, and in some cases just becoming the healing agent that wasn't being offered. And it's interesting too, we see, the similar color of that, high heart color as what is ascending this energy around the person who has had to be meditative while they've been working with whatever fiery energies have either taken a toll or that they have had to apply into their acts of, in this case, it looks like service to me. So it's also possible that you're just dealing with other fiery people too, because sometimes that's what this is all about. So it's a very monk-like energy, and don't let it fool you. We see a very meditative person here, but this can be a very creative energy too. So I like that, and wow, passionate energy it looks like too for some of you. The news of engagement is coming up strong in the this is the Doreen Virtues Romance Angels Oracle deck, and this one says your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. I love it. You could be hearing about new engagements going on. If this is not romantic for you, this could be a new engagement, but this looks very romantic to me for some people. Romance is definitely highlighted during a moon like this. It's very focused on relationships. And so it could be possible that I'm just seeing somebody who is like really, really in love that has been too afraid to speak about it, is what I'm hearing. I'm seeing somebody that's been sending healing to somebody from afar, and it's been kind of like their act of service. Just, I'm hearing being in love and not knowing necessarily what to say, but providing that presence. And this one's really talking to me about long distance relationships. I'm hearing about somebody's plans in the month of, I guess that is what, August or September is what's coming up here. But if there are relationships that are coming up right now, it's possible that they could be very passionate. People are definitely very motivated in the springtime. That's kind of cliche, but cliches are there for a reason. And just with some of the planetary energies that are interfacing right now, relationships are definitely a highlight. So it's looking good here. I think that the cautionary notes that I would just bring forward is I just keep seeing that the couple is kind of leaning together here, and I'm hearing about postural deviations and somebody that really needs to go see a chiropractor. So, take the tip if it's yours, and if not, man, culpa. Might not be for you, it might be for somebody else. Or we're gonna go ahead. I'm hearing in some cases this is a time to reach out to somebody for intuitive help. So if you're somebody that's looking to know, or you have some questions, I could be your friend. So that can help you with this stuff. Feel free to hit me up anytime, artoflove.me, and you can book me, book.artoflove.me for live help and get in my calendar like that. Or I could do a detailed reading and send you a video, depending on what kind of reading you want to do. But sometimes that's the kind of support we need, is finding out what role people are playing in our lives. And as somebody that came back from the dead and that is versed enough to read some of this stuff and just feel like it's absolutely mind-numbing to just nail people to a cross and drag them out on a false timeline, I'm more into figuring out who the roles are that people play and figuring out what the symbols are so that we kind of know how we want to govern our energy. And there's a way to lace that together that has been far more effective for me than just the naked look at astrology or just the naked look at tarot. That gives us more of a composite sketch of what it is that we're dealing with. And so I'll just say, if you're any of these people anywhere and you would like some help, or you would just like somebody to take a look, feel free to hit me up. I'm going to leave it at that. This is the reading for the full moon, 0 degrees Libra. Hopefully everything turned out okay. I'm going to edit this and timestamp, and I'm going to wish you the best. Thank you to everybody who has stayed with me, and please feel free to reach out just with a message too if you just want to say, hey, love you very much. Thank you for liking. Thank you for thumbsing up, and thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it if you do. I will be updating more, and if you hit the bell up at the top, it'll give you a notification when I'm sending new messages forward. So take care. God bless. We'll catch you again soon. Back for another one.